Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Money Talks with Ayanna Smith, and I am your host, Ayanna Smith. I help people make and save money through the vehicle of being a financial professional, through the ways of looking at several entities in the life insurance arena and helping people grow thereby. But we're going to get right into our subject today, this evening, tonight, to talk about how savvy women and men, yeah, we want to still bring in our men, can increase their cash flow so that they can save, invest, and grow and repeat. So hold on, we'll be right back. Well, hello, hello again. Welcome to Money Talks with Ayanna Smith, and I am your host, coming on this evening to share some information about how savvy women and men can increase their cash flow. So, we're going to talk about a few things and bring a few things into perspective. But first of all, I just wanted to greet everyone and just let you know how excited I am to come into your homes, cars, wherever you may be viewing this broadcast, the replay, listening all over the internet systems. We are so excited to have you here listening to Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. So, some of the ways, of course, you can connect with me. I'd like to start with that so you know how you can connect with me. We are looking at, let's see, you first of all can connect with me because I'm streaming all over the World Wide Web on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Well, I'll shoot to Instagram, but Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn are our main places that we are broadcasting, and I'm excited to have viewers coming in from all over of those platforms. And also, you can connect with me by subscribing to the YouTube channel, and there you'll find previous broadcasts all collected, of course, on the dashboard to take advantage of some ideas and tips and trade secrets and all that stuff that we've been talking about with Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. And also, you may connect with me on IG at Ask Ayanna _ Financial Pro, and Facebook page is Ask for Ayanna. And of course, I'm streaming live from my personal page as well. So just make sure that we kick in, connect, and make sure that we're just doing some big things together. You can also connect with me with a complimentary consultation through my website at www.askayanna.com. That's ASKAYANNA.com. So there you will be able to schedule a complimentary consultation, and we can talk and get into what the things you will need that's personally suited for you, your family, and also other ways to connect with me. Or I am available to, I say connect with me, but I'm available to speak with your churches, your civic organizations, your fraternities, sororities, and families. I've had families I've done in person and on Zoom with families to talk about just how we could get some things in order and not leave everybody in disarray. If we were to get sick or pass away unexpectedly, we would have something to make sure that our families are not mad and sad and crying because we have hit our demise or gotten sick, and then have something to cover that. So, of course, those are the ways you can connect with me. Always connect with me on my website at www.askayanna.com, and we'll go from there. But tonight, to get into our talk, of course, we're going to talk about how savvy women are going to recalibrate, save money, and soar. We've been talking about that for the past few broadcasts, and making sure that everything is succinct and on point for that. But we're going to get into talking about some ways that savvy women and men can cut down on their spending and create cash flow and places to grow it, places to put it. I'll even insert some of those things, but we're going to get right down to it and get into our list, which this, of course, is not an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination. I always say that because I look at, like I said, I look at whether it be an article from whether it's glamour.com or whether it's, we're talking to whatever top gurus there are in the financial industry, things that I read, things that I just said, said a particular site, no backing or no support is given there from them to me or me to them. But I like to look at a lot of things to make sure that I am thinking on the right lines and that I'm still staying above and on my craft as far as being a professional, a licensed professional in the financial industry, insurance industry. So the first thing we're going to do is, we talked about, if you look at the last broadcast, that will bring you up to speed on 7 tips that we talked about part 2. But we're going to look at 7 tips part 3, and I'll probably insert some extra stuff in there because we always have some bonuses that we want to look at and position ourselves. Okay, so here we are. One thing is to, as we get right into it, automate your savings. So that's one way that you automatically, if you have an employer, get the employer to take out so much at each pay period. Or you can, of course, when money is deposited into your bank accounts, even if you're not a W-2 worker, so to speak, or you're not a personal contractor, if you get money directly deposited because you've done jobs through your companies and all of that, and you're getting paid directly, get the bank or credit union to automate and take so much each time, or set the dates that you want money taken out. If you want to have 3, 4, 5, 6, $700,000 each time going over into your savings, it adds up. It all adds up. It reminds me, when I say it all adds up, it reminds me of when I was working out, and of course need to work out again. But when I was working out, my trainer used to tell me, said, everything you do all adds up. Every time you walk, every time you monitor what you're eating, every time you do those exercises, it all adds up. So that's the same thing about our money. It all adds up when we think about putting so much away, $50, $60, $70 out of our checks. However you want to do it, you have to think about this. Start small, but then think big. So start small, think big, because everybody's not in the same place. Everybody is not at the same spot, but we can all start. So the next thing we want to look at is, of course, when we're saving, we want to set up a budget. We want to be consistent so we can grow. Sometimes it's like, wow, we really have to get that big word that kicks in called discipline. And sometimes that's the word that eats us up. I know it gets me many times, and I have to fight it like I don't know what, to make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do, or at least get on track to get somewhere nearby so I can push forward and see some things growing for myself. So you have to set up that budget, make sure you know what's coming in, what's going out. And that also sets you up for, if you are looking to, of course, connect. And when we talk about consulting and talking about just having a conversation and having an appointment to talk about your next steps in what you want to save and all that, having that budget does help you to know where your money's going, how much you can put out, how much you can get back, and it helps us to find the money. So sometimes if we just take a moment to focus on what we are spending and what money is coming in, then we'll see where we can shave a little bit off. Sometimes we can, and sometimes it may be a little tight, and therefore we have to look at then expanding our ways of getting money. So that's an even different talk. Look at ways of getting money. But I will say this, as I insert this, if you need to grow and have extra money, or start increasing so that you can expand your cash flow, there are opportunities where in my agency, our agency is growing, and we're looking for great people. So that's something that we can talk about, and looking for great people in the financial industry to help you to grow and expand your budget so that you can be consistent and increase the places that you can put money, and then look at how you can then look at investing and saving it, investing and saving it, and repeating that. So with that, set up a budget, be consistent, and then that leads into the next one, which would be to set your goals. Now, we of course always want to look at setting our goals, and we want to make sure we talk about SMART, something that we can basically is measurable, and we can obtain it. We take it in small bits. We make sure that it's something that can grow along the way, and not throw us all off and say, "Oh, I'm going to save $10,000 in 1 month." Well, okay, if we have to look at how we think we can successfully do that, unless we are pushing hard in adding on to what we're already doing in our regular jobs, or we know that we're getting some big accounts coming in, then maybe that will happen. But if we're just going on our day to day, and we know that sometimes we may come up short just in our regular pay periods, then we may want to look at how can we get to that $10,000. Break it down, take it in bite sizes, and say I will put away. And that goes back to our first piece of the hour, talking about automating our savings. If we know that you make so much, then if I divide it up by this amount of months or weeks or what have you, then I know by XYZ date, set that date, I will have $10,000, because I'm going to start with this amount, build it up here, and continue to grow from there. So you have to sit down and set those goals and basically think about, can we eat a cake or a pizza all at one time? Not all at one time, but when we cut it, put it in slices, bite sizes, and we bite it down, we can get it done a little by little, right? And we don't eat the whole cake at one time. We don't take the whole cake without cutting it and just try to push it all in our mouths and eat it. We have some type of utensil or something to cut it and then break it down. All right. So with that, that's the next thing that we have to do as we're looking forward to moving on this list on saving our money and building our cash flow. So the next thing, this may not affect some people, and some people it might affect, but it's using credit cards wisely. Or I would say even credit lines, use them wisely. Make sure that they are not maxed out. I do believe that some of my credit friends say that the good rule of thumb is to have whatever the balance is, have you whatever the actual, I would say, the limit is, then have your balance at least half of that, so that it won't max everything out. So it's not ideal to max everything to the nth degree. It still have that cushion and that room so that it won't affect credit scores and things of that nature. And that's not my lane of expertise. However, if you have a question about something dealing with credit, I know some wonderful people who you can work with, and they can lead and guide you into all the truths of credit to the best of their ability. All right. So I make a disclaimer. I don't know what everybody can do for everybody, because I don't know people's situations, but I can get you in the right direction, because we have people in my Rolodex on my team that they work with me, I work with them, so that we can make sure people have the whole picture of what they need. All right. So next, let's move to the next one. We're looking at you using your credit cards. And if you have them, if you don't have them, you look at the opportunity of paying as you go. If you don't have credit cards, then hey, pay as you go. There is a philosophy about that. Pay as you go. If you can't pay for it, then you don't get it. As far as it's looking at the smaller things, some people are going to save up. They have that discipline. They are going to save up for every single thing, whatever the purchase may be. And I would say you will be able to get to that level as you continue to grow in your finances. I believe that. But as you're starting out, if there's something that you can actually pay for right then and there, and you say, but no, I'll charge it. Well, okay, why charge it if you can pay for it? Unless you are disciplined enough to then turn around, if you did charge it, take the money that you do have and pay it right off, so that therefore you can start working that credit side of things. And that's just a little tidbit that I've learned from some of my credit friends to do that. But other than that, if you can pay as you go, that might be a good rule of thumb to check out and to adhere to, so you won't accrue a bunch of debt. All right, the next thing. Oh, here's a thing that we have to look at, savvy women and men, and sometimes the women a little more, sometimes, but not all the time, because I know there are some men who love to shop. They love to buy expensive things at all costs, and no matter what, they are going to make that work and get it no matter what. So, and that's some women too. Take the emotion out of money and tell the money what to do. Tell it what to do. Because if we are always running by our emotions or driven by our emotions when we make purchases, then it's a possibility that we may not have a budget. It's a possibility that we may not automate anything. It's a possibility that we haven't set any goals. It's a great possibility that we may not use credit cards wisely if we have those. And then it's just, we're just all over the place. So we want to take the emotion out of money of that we have to have something that is not going to be of value. It's something that we totally want. Nothing wrong with our wants, but we don't want to buy all of our wants and then not take care of our needs and take care of the things that really matter, such as making sure that we have our food and shelter. Sometimes I often share with some of the younger people, some of the kids that I may work with. I said, listen, your parents only have to provide you with food, clothing, and shelter. They did not say that it had to be a certain name brand where it's astronomical in price, and they could have reallocated that money to taking care of something. Or how about put some money away for your college fund or something like that. So it's ways to think about the reallocation that we have to pull back a little bit and take the emotion out of it. We're not trying to keep up with anybody else. We're not trying to do what others do. We have to do what is good and that's good for us, and not be so over the top on what we think others are doing and what's good and in competition. Because competition, I would say, gets us nowhere unless we're competing on how much we can save. I'll say that. Let's start that competition. How much can we save, and what can we do to save it? And how can we challenge each other to grow so we have more to save, more to invest, and repeat that. And then as we come into our close, as we close out, know when to say yes and know when to say no. And I tell you, here we are. Know when to say yes and know when to say no. And that means that sometimes when we want to, and this could go probably a few ways that maybe some of you that are listening can really attest to this. Sometimes people ask us for money or they want to borrow money. So you have to know when to say yes, know when to say no. Sometimes it's even just down to, hey, you want to go out after work and get you something, get something to eat. We want to, grab something to eat. And it's like, no, I may not really have that in my budget to do that. But then you say, okay, yeah, let's go, because that's the emotional part. We want to connect with people. We want to be around people. We want to have a good time. But sometimes it's not the time to say yes. Sometimes you have to say, well, you know what? I would love to. And please let me take a rain check on that, because I have some other things that I need to take care of. And I can't really swing it at this moment, or just I have another appointment. Whatever the case might be on saying that, you have to make sure that you're protecting and guarding the goals that you have in mind and planned out, because the least little thing can throw you and me off from obtaining our goals if every penny is not accounted for. So those are just some things, just not an exhaustive list, but a list to kind of get our minds on continuing thinking about how your savvy women and men can save their money and make sure that they're looking to do the best thing for them. So we're going to, of course, take the emotion out of money, tell the money what to do, pay as we go, use our credit cards wisely, set goals, set up a budget, and automate our savings. We want to do those things so that we will have some type of guideline and some type of go ahead to get to our goals and our dreams, and not be frivolous in our spending. So when we're looking at this, we want to say we thank you so much for listening to Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. Of course, I am your host, Ayanna Smith. I am a financial professional. And as I shared earlier, I help people in several ways by, of course, making sure some of the ways I help them is, of course, overall through the vehicle of life insurance. But life insurance, as I say, are not bad words. They're really words that will help us if we learn how to work it. So I help people with the vehicles of life insurance by, of course, final expense, looking at mortgage protection, looking at making sure you have, of course, coverage when you pass away, and that's a benefits are left for your beneficiaries. But I also help people with, what if you live and you get sick? So we help with the living benefits, and that is such a pertinent and key piece to the vehicle of life insurance, having those living benefits. If you qualify for those, you cannot beat it, because sometimes it's not if but when. How many people, posing the question here, how many people do we know, or maybe we've actually experienced heart attack, cancer, or stroke? Those things right there are enough to wipe out anybody with the bills if we don't have that money set aside. So having the appropriate style of life insurance will help to get those things in place and help us bridge those gaps if we have health care bills that our health insurance doesn't take care of. And as I was sharing with a friend on a show a night or so ago, I was just sharing, those are the things that we need to talk about. So of course, thusly, Money Talks with Ayanna Smith, and we want to sit down and have a complimentary appointment consultation to help you to get to your goals, your dreams, and see where you are. Go over the policies that you already have and to see if they need a tune up, a brush up. I get calls often saying, hey, I just need to talk over something, or I thought I had what I didn't have, or had what I thought I had. Whatever the case is, we can sit down and talk about that. And that's no fees to you. So for us to look at that. And then if it's something we can help you with, we move forward and get some things in place and have everybody, happy, holding hands, and secured and safe and ready to move. So with that being said, we're going to wish you well. Have a great, great, great evening. We're going to bid you adieu, and we're looking forward to connecting with you via www.askayanna.com.